And welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Thanks for joining me as you sign on. I'm just going to check that everything is all right on Facebook before I start. Just bear with me, there's a few minutes delay. I'm not really sure why they do the delay. Maybe I can't really censor myself if I say a bad word, but maybe I can. Okay, so here we are. I'll check the volume. I can't really censor myself if I can hear me. Anyway, now you may notice a wee bit of difference in the sound that I'm using today. A friend mentioned to me that the last video I did sounded like I was in a cave, like it was quite bassy and echoey. I think it was okay at the time. I'm not sure if it was just the replay. But anyway, my son, and I've said this multiple times, I'm sharing the room with my son. He's got a bank just here in front of me, a bank of screens. So I'm wondering whether maybe it's just the echoes bouncing back from the screens, whereas normally the echoes just disappear out into the echo land, wherever echoes go. But I'm wondering if it's bouncing back. But I've changed microphones and I'm not quite sure whether that's going to be better or worse. So if you watched last week and I did sound like I was in a cave recording, you know, with echoes and bass and everything like that. If this is a little bit better or worse, please pop into the comments and let me know. I can always swap back to the other mic. It'll only take me 2 seconds if I swap back. So yeah, if this one's better, if that one's better, yeah, just pop on, and if I get enough people saying that this sucks, then I'll swap to the other one. It's a different mic in the fact that it's not as sophisticated and it picks up everything. It'll pick up everything. So if Stephen walks up the driveway and talks to the dog, you're going to hear that outside the window. If he starts banging around in the kitchen, you'll hear that as well. So it's not as directional as the other microphone, but it may be coping with the echoes a little bit better. Anna says the sound is good. Did you watch last week, Anna? Did you notice the echoey sound? And Glenda, did you notice the echoey sound last week? So if it's good, it might just be just as good as the last one. And to be honest, I'd love to use my $400 mic as opposed to the one that's just up here with my webcam. Okay, so let's go. Let's have a look at this. Now, as you know, I'm not buying a huge amount of stuff anymore. I'm trying to be good and live within my means and not fill the craft room with stuff that I may never use or may use once and then sell second hand. And anyway, so I did see this one in the catalogue. This is the Greenery Lane bundle and I just absolutely fell in love. You know, there's always one thing in the catalogue that you look at it and you go, I need that in my life and I need it to keep it forever and ever. So the Greenery Lane did it for me, as well as the tulips that we saw last week. Also quite intrigued by this gears and textures. If you've seen anyone doing anything interesting with that, please let me know. Yeah, I'm interested to get it. I might get it as the time goes by. But I really, for some reason, I always tend to keep the stuff for masculine cards that I like, because I suppose it comes by so rarely. But I really like that as well. But anyway, Greenery Lane that we are looking at today is on page 56 and 57 of the new mini catalogue. If you've got yours in front of you, open it up and have a look. The bit that got me, and I love a bit of washi tape. So this is a nice wide, 3.5 inch wide washi tape. And as you can see later, the dies fit, so you can do the die cutting of these little images, as well as using it as a really pretty background, which is what we're going to do today. So 56, 57 in the new mini catalogue. And I still have a supply of mini catalogues here. If you happen to not have one in your hot little mitt and would like one, please reach out. This is the card we're going to make, and so you'll actually see several aspects of the washi tape. I'm using it as a background here, as you can see behind, and I've also die cut a selection of the images to use here as a little bit of focal point near the sentiment as well. And I'm using my favourite, it has been a favourite of late, the everyday arches there, to just as a little window on what's happening. And there's a cat here. Look, the thing with this washi tape is that I was trying to lay it down, and I was trying to be so good on the very vanilla cardstock there, and all I could see was these cat hairs being trapped as I went up. It was just a nightmare. So obviously, while I'm out of the craft room, there's a certain little furry fiend who appreciates being in my craft room as much as I do. So that's the card we're going to make together today. As I say, everyday arches I've used for that one there, and I've used a stitched bannered sentiment box out of Stylish Shapes, both of which are still available, and yeah, you can grab them if you want. Okay, so let's have a little look at this. Okay, so we've got a stamp set. It's got some really nice sentiments there. Thank you, here for you, love and thanks, wishing you well. So it's sort of like that general reaching out sort of when someone needs a hug type thing. And the die, oh, I won't show you that. And the stamps have all the same images as the washi tape, and they're two-part stamping. So you've got the outline, and then you can fill it with the ink inside. So the outline and inside, outline inside, outline and inside. And then this one is completely different as well. So that's the stamp set. And as you can see here, I've popped some washi tape onto a very vanilla piece of cardstock, and I did some stamping next to it. So that's the image from the washi tape, and that's the image from me just stamping it. And I didn't line them up overly well. May have to practice a bit with that one, but you can see the images are pretty much the same. So when you run out of washi tape or you can't get it anymore, you can always do some lovely stamps and colours in there as well, which is always great. Okay, so that's the stamp set, and the dies fairly much as you would expect here. You've got a couple of just the standalone images. You can do the flowers and all the images from the washi tape and the stamp set as well. So that's the dies. So really, really nice. And the washi tape here on a roll, like we did with the Everlasting Flora in the annual catalogue. So let's have a little look at this card then, shall we? And I've got all the pieces cut here. Right, I don't think I need that bit. I've got a very vanilla card base. Now, I don't know, for some reason the original card that I made, I popped it onto I popped it onto white cardstock, and I thought to myself, that doesn't look quite right. It wasn't quite white and it wasn't quite very vanilla. And then I looked at it, I thought, Julianne, you're a silly Billy. It's actually meant, it is so meant to be on very vanilla cardstock. So that's what I've done, and it looks much better on very vanilla or a sort of creamy sort of cardstock. But anyway, so I've got a card base here. I've trimmed it down to 4 inches wide by 5 3/4. And the reason I've trimmed that down to 4 inches is because the layers that I want them to end with the top layer being 3.5 inches, which is the width of the washi tape. So that's just the only reason I've trimmed that down to 4 inches wide. This is the first layer, but as you can see, I've already taken, to save a bit of cardstock, I've taken the arch and the sentiment box out of the middle of that, but you won't see it because I'm going to pop the other layers on top. A layer of Lost Lagoon, and this is actually a layer of, it's two-tone cardstock that I had left over, so I thought, waste not, want not, I'm going to use that as a layer. And then the layer we're going to put the washi tape on is another 3.5 inch wide piece of very vanilla. So let's do that, and I'll show you and hopefully not make a horrible mess of it. So if you've used the washi tape from Stampin' Up before, it's nice and wide, as I say, 3.5 inches. I'm going to have a little bit of a hangover on either end so I can just neaten it up and fold it under. I'm just going to line it up with, hopefully line it up with one end. There. Okay. A couple of little thingies there. It looks like it's straight, which at least. So I've just smoothed that down onto my cardstock. See there? It takes no bubbles or anything. It's quite pleasing. I'm going to take a little bit of extra off the top here. Fold that under for a nice clean finish. And the other end for a nice clean finish. You can just trim it off. No problems at all. And then that's our layer with our washi tape. There we go. There we go. So that's the backing layer. It's got a little bit of overhang there. I might have been slightly off there. Could trim that down. I wonder if I need to. Let's see. Yeah, I will trim that down because once I put it on the very vanilla, the Lost Lagoon, I can actually see that as a slight shadow. So I'm going to grab my trimmer and hope that I can do a nice fine cut. Pop that at 3.5 because I know that's what it is. Fingers crossed. Yep, that's worked okay. So a tiny little edge of the washi tape I've taken off there. I could just fold it under, but I don't think it's very enough of it there to fold under. There we go. Okay, so that's fit to our 3.5 wide layer, pretty much exactly there. Okay, so let's layer this baby up. So I'm going to cover that hole with some Lost Lagoon. As I say, that's two-tone cardstock I'm using there, so I'm using the dark side facing upwards. Hope that my glue is not... Come on, baby. Come on. Yeah, you've decided. Is there another one there? Yes, there's another one there. I'll fix that later with a pin. Let's hope this one's better. Yes. So there's 3 layers here. The first one being the very vanilla layer, and then 1/8 of an inch smaller is the Lost Lagoon layer, and then that's all fixed to be 1/8 of an inch further down to our washi tape layer. Now I think the only thing with this microphone is that if I move my head away, I may go a bit quiet. So forgive me if I wander off and I'll be looking at something else, or looking at the screen, or looking at my iPad, or thinking ahead to the next step. I may wander with my head and it may sound very, might go a bit soft. But anyway, I'll need an honest appraisal from you all as to whether it's an okay mic to actually use. Okay, so we've got those 3 layers there. What I'm going to do, hang on, grab some, no, they're here. Forgive my rolling chair, you can probably hear that a lot with this mic. You probably couldn't hear it with my other one. Grab some dimensionals. I already sent the first card off that I made from this one to a customer as a thank you. I've also made one for a girlfriend for a birthday, so I'm going to go back to thank you cards for this one. Just about out of just small ones there. Okay, so that's our layer there. There we are. So that's the beginning of our card. You see how nice that is. It's the washi tape, and I've never been a big user of washi tape before today. It's sort of a matte finish, which is really cute. So I was thinking, if you wanted to, with this card, there's lots of greens and blue greens. If you wanted to add a little bit of colour, you could take, and you have the previous washi tape, the Everlasting Floral, you could just die cut some from that as well and just add a little bit of bit more colour to this one. Because I think they both have the same basic colours, the Lost Lagoon and the Garden Green, and they just add some pinks and things for the flowers. So that would work really well. Okay, so let's keep going. Sort of getting a bit distracted here, aren't I? So what we're going to do now is add our little archway. Now, as I say, I've used everyday arches for this one, and I used 2 that were separated by one, if that makes sense. I used I can't even remember what I used, so like the, I don't know, 4th or 5th sized one, and then the one that was 2 sizes smaller than that, just to give the archway a little bit of width. Otherwise it was way too fiddly and too narrow. But you could use, if you haven't got the arches, you could cut squares, ovals, circles, whatever you wanted as your frame. I'm actually going to make some cards for a fundraiser, and I thought I might do this very similar technique with using squares, and then just use the actual square in another card, you know what I mean? So use the archway in one card, and then the inside that I take out in a second card, just to get total use of the card stock. So I'm just popping that hopefully somewhere central. Now the thing is, with the washi tape, trying to stick things to the washi tape, it does, because it's smooth and matte, you have to be a little bit careful because the glue will slip around for a bit longer. I suppose a blessing in a way, the dimensionals do come off. If you've got it, if you're in the wrong place, they come off quite easily. So there you are. So that's that. The archway. So now what we can do is, this is another piece of the washi tape that I added to some very vanilla cardstock. I'm just going to grab my cut and emboss machine and the dies, and I'll cut the little foliages out, if that's a word. Foliages, pieces of foliage. Use the trusty cut and emboss. There we go. Now I use a sort of a craft store magnetic plate that I just picked up. I've been using it for years and years, and it really works really well, especially with these that to keep them in place. I don't mind too much saying that, because Stampin' Up! Don't actually have one. So yeah, I just picked this one up from a craft store, just because having a magnetic plate is very handy sometimes, as we all know. I'm just lining these up. This is really weird. I'm actually sitting as I get as I put these. I don't usually die cut sitting down. It just feels really unnatural. I'll stand up in a minute, but I have a feeling the mic will struggle when I stand up, because I'll be out of its field. Okay, so that's that. Now in the die set you also do have the little flowers as well. So these little double flowers and the single ones. You will notice, if you look, and if I've got one here, there's this little double one. There's two little, a large one and a small one together. And that's that there. Or you can just use the single ones as you go. So I might pop a couple of single ones on there, because they will fit any of them. I'll put that one there. I just want a couple of the little flowers. I don't want to go too crazy, because this is all about foliage. There we go. So I am going to stand now. It's just totally unnatural sitting while I die cut. I don't know if that's anyone else. Okay, so there we have our little die cut images. That's the first go anyway. I'm going to go back for another go, take some more. Now I've got a green, garden green one here that I got from a previous card, so waste not, want not, I'll keep that one, so I don't need another of those. But I will grab, what else is there to grab? This one here, I think, just to make up, and that one there, yep. Okay, so I'll take, forgive me if my voice has gone a bit as I say, a bit faint with the mic. I'm going to take that one there as well. And this one. But you could take, there's others there as well, you could take them all, but that's what I think I need. I'll pop that through. There we are, so that's that. If anyone is, I think Glenda, is it Glenda? No, Deb. Deb, you're watching on YouTube, aren't we? It's funny, the stats, usually I can see on my streaming software how many people are actually watching, but I can't see today. And I know there's 7 or 8 on Facebook, but I can't see how many are on YouTube, so I'll just pop that aside now. Okay, let's do this, finish this off. Okay, so here's our card and our sentiment. So what I'm going to do is stamp the sentiment with Pretty Peacock, which I always go Pretty Peacock when I want to go darker than Lost Lagoon. Just with a thank you. As I say, this will be a customer card. The new Julianne is actually going to send the cards she makes, or make the cards that she needs to send. So yeah, everything will be for a purpose these days. Now that I'm limiting my spending, it's going to be for a purpose. So if you see a video and then that card lands on your doorstep, then you'll know that that I made it just for you. Okay, so where's the original so I know what I'm doing? Where's it gone? Here it is. Okay, so the thank you there in the Pretty Peacock. Going to pop some dimensionals on the back of that, just along the middle or just in either end, because I'm not much of a visual thinker. I need to sort of see things down before I know I like them. So I tend to pop that first because I know that's got to go there, and then I'll bring the foliage in and around that. So there's our sentiment. And what I'm going to do is add these big round leaves first. There. And there. Okay, so they're the first two I know. I'm just copying my original design here. No original thinking on when you're going live. It leads to disaster. So I'm going to pop that. I'm going to pop some little minis in and around that, and then it will actually glue to the now you've decided to go. Shouldn't have left the lid off, should I? Oh man, hang on. Bit too much glue came out then. Where's my garbage bin? A little bit there and a little bit there. Pop this one here. And just lay these around. Again, we need some dimensionals on this one and some glue. There we are. And then this one here. And pop that there. The other two leaves that I've used are sort of garden green, so I'll just break that up with a little bit of the Lost Lagoon there. There we are. And then this one's got to have some dimensionals as well. And some glue. Where else are we headed? Okay, down below here. As I say, they don't mind, they don't stick all that well to the, see that one's decided to come up as well. The dimensionals and glue and things don't, you have to give them a long time to actually stay stuck. And if you can pop some glue on there and get it to actually stick to some actual cardstock, you can have a better time as well. So see my sentiment there has decided to come away as well. I'm going to glue that down when I'm finished. I think might be safer than letting it just come off when it's in the mail or something. So if you cop one of these and you get it out and your dimensionals have come off, I apologise. I'm going to definitely have to glue that down. Now, how are we doing this one? There we go. Now I'm going to carefully lift that off because, as I say, the dimensionals just don't want to stick to the, and pop some glue there and then that'll actually stick to the leaves. Hopefully, given a little bit of time, it'll stick to the leaves. Oh, that was higher than that before, wasn't it? As well as the cardstock underneath. There we go. Yeah. I'll bring it out a bit. That way. Okay, stick that there, you. Cat hair. Oh my goodness. I may have to ban the cat from my craft room. Just bear with me for a sec. I wonder if I should go big dimensionals, that might be better. They might have more stickability. I'm sure once they're there for a while, you know how things get more sticky as time goes by. I'm sure it will be fine. I'm going to ban that cat. Okay, we'll give that a bit of time to just stick properly. I've got one little flower. Where did my other little flower go? Can't find it. I might have dropped it on the floor. But anyway, I've got one little flower. I'll pop some glue on the back of that. And pop him up here. Sans cat hair. Okay. Okay. So that's our layering there. Okay. I'm going to press that down. Might put something heavy on it till it all sticks in place, just to give it that bit of extra, you know, extra time. These are the earthy matte dots, and they do have a Lost Lagoon version there, so I'm going to use those. They're not bling by any stretch. They're quite, well, as it says on the box, they're matte, so they're not shiny. But I think that goes really well with this design. never quite know what I'm going to meet when I go to come into the craft room these days. Never quite know what Benjamin is going to surprise me with, what he's left around, or what he's packed away when I didn't expect him to. But anyway, today's no exception. Okay, so there we are. So that is our card that uses our Greenery Lane washi tape with the die cuts and the background. And as I say, I've used a gorgeous frame there from Everyday Arches and a sentiment box from the Stylish Shapes. So there we are. So we've got to have birthday one and a thank you one there as examples. You can see my jumper, that's not usual. Yeah, so that's what I've done with these. So hopefully you like that one. And grab that washi tape and, well, at least the dies. The dies and the washi tape go together really well. The sentiments complement, and as I say, you've got all those images there later on. If you run out of washi tape, you can always stamp your own images there as well. So this, as I say, is page 56 of the catalogue. There we are, the Greenery Lane bundle with the washi tape. The washi tape you do buy separately, so you can just buy the bundle if you want, the stamp set and the dies, but I think the washi tape at the moment is a definite must-have. So I'm going to pop something heavy on that, make sure it stays on. See, this one was the same problem yesterday, but they're over time, they've all stuck properly. So don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you a dud. It just takes, with the matte surface of the washi tape, it just takes a little bit longer for the normal adhesives to solidify and stay in place. So there we go. So I promise it will stay there if you just give it a little bit of time. Okay, so thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you have a good week, what's left of it, a great weekend, and I will see you all again hopefully next week. Okay, bye guys.